Miami is known for the sun, the beaches, the luxury cars, the nightlife. But it's also known as one of the most expensive cities in the entire world. Now, my name is David Casper, and I'm going to be seeing if you can generally go to Miami on a budget. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer for you guys. Me and my boys went to Miami for 2 weeks from London, and we weren't trying to do Miami on a budget. We obviously wanted to live our best life, and we didn't want to miss anything either. I mean, you're traveling to a whole different part of the world. You ain't going to be stingy with money. But we did also see where we could save money, and we did see stuff that could potentially save you money as well on your trip if you are planning to go to Miami. But without further ado, let's get straight into this video. Now, first things first, we're going to end up talking about the flights and accommodation. Now, of course, if you've booked your flights and accommodation, this part doesn't really apply to you. So I have timestamps down below, so you can skip to the part that you want, because this doesn't really apply to you guys. But of course, I can't really help you too much with the flights either, because again, I don't know what part of the world you're flying from. If you're flying from London, like I did, you might be able to get flights for about £600 to £700, which is what we paid to travel to Miami in July. But again, different times of year might be cheaper. You might end up finding a deal. Can't help you too much with that, but I can help you with the accommodation. Now, the accommodation, I'd highly recommend getting an Airbnb over a hotel. Now, it's so much cheaper to begin with to get an Airbnb over a hotel, and you will also be saving money in the long run as well, because you can get food, you've got a place to store your food, you've got a place to cook your own food. Now, if you didn't know, Miami is very expensive when it comes to eating out, because you have to pay service charge and tips. It's not just Miami, it is the whole of the United States. The whole of the United States is like this. But if you do want to save money, make your own food if you don't mind doing that. And on top of that as well, you get closer to Ocean Drive. A lot of the hotels are further down South Beach or in Mid Beach. And of course, you then need to travel into Ocean Drive, which will add a lot more to your cost. This is the gaff that we got. We paid about £2,800 for this for 4 people. Now, in dollars, this adds up to about 3.6k, which again, you're in Miami, it's one of the most expensive cities in the world. You potentially find stuff cheaper, again, time of the year, but you can also find stuff that's a little bit more expensive and maybe a little bit more luxury. Again, that's all down to you. But that's the prices we paid. I'd say that's a rough average, especially if you want to live comfortable. That comes with a bed and 2 sofa beds, so of course one of my mates had to share a bed. Now, it's quite funny because when I came back from Miami, I booked a trip to Vietnam to a place called Da Nang, and we ended up booking an Airbnb for 3 people with 2 beds and a sofa bed for £700. Like, that puts the numbers into perspective on how expensive Miami is compared to places like Vietnam. And this place in Vietnam is proper luxury, like it's a proper condo. Yeah, Miami, when you look at the difference of like the price difference to different parts of the world, it is expensive AF. But yeah, that covers the accommodation. Avoid hotels, because again, you're gonna be paying probably double, and you're only gonna get a breakfast facility. You're gonna have to be looking at places to eat afterwards. But that's enough about the accommodation. The next thing we gotta talk about is when you arrive to Miami Airport. Now, you've got 2 options. You've got Miami Airport or you've got Fort Lauderdale Airport. Now, international flights, you're always gonna be flying into Miami. Now, local flights, I've heard about Fort Lauderdale and how much more you'll end up spending to get into Miami afterwards. So yeah, you might find a flight that's gonna be £40 cheaper to Fort Lauderdale, but then remember, you're gonna be paying about $100 or $200 more just to get a taxi or an Uber from Fort Lauderdale to Miami. Keep that in mind. One more thing I need to say as well is make sure you get your visa before you travel. This will cost you about $21 unless you have to get the other visa, which is a lot more. But most of you will be paying $21 if you're an international traveler. Now, when you arrive to Miami Airport, you've got 2 options to get to downtown or South Beach. You can either get public transport, which will take you about an hour and a half to get to South Beach. Again, for me, time is money. I didn't want to waste my time on public transport. We decided to get an Uber, which took about, I think, 25 to 30 minutes. And it costed us, bear in mind we have to get an Uber X because there's 4 of us, it cost us $51. Now, splitting that 4 ways, you're not paying too much. After a long flight as well, we just couldn't be asked to take the public transport. We wanted to just settle in. If you take public transport, it would be a lot less, of course. I think buses are like $1.50 each time you get on a bus. Next up, we're going to be talking about grocery shopping. Of course, when you get back from the airport, I'd recommend going to get yourself some water, go into the grocery shop to make sure you've got breakfast and dinner basically sorted. Grocery shopping for 2 weeks in Miami that we spent there costed me about $270. That's with obviously buying alcohol as well, and just yeah, just buying the stuff that I wanted to get. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, all sorted. A couple of chips for the beach as well, a couple of snacks. And then the options you've got when it comes to grocery shopping is you've got Publix, you've got Target, they're the budget options. Now Publix is a little bit more expensive than Target from what I've saw, but they're similar prices. I think in Target you can get cheaper fruits and vegetables, but then Publix you've got a lot more to choose from, of course. And just so you know as well, for those of you that don't know, Florida, they do not sell big bottles of alcohol inside grocery shops, so you're gonna have to go to a liquor shop for that. But we already had our bottles sorted when we went to the airport. We all bought ourselves like a bottle of rum or vodka or tequila. But then if you do need to stock up on alcohol when you're there, if that's something you need to do, especially if you're going clubbing, pre-drinks are essential. Go to a liquor shop. Now grocery shops, they sell small cans. Now technically it's illegal to drink by the beach in Miami. We still did it anyway because everyone else is doing it. And yeah, it's better than going to a bar and spending $30 or $40 on a cocktail. Like, you don't want to be doing that one, especially when you can buy like 12 to 20 cocktails in a can for about $20. You know what I mean? You're going to be saving a lot more money in that. So in total, grocery shopping with the liquor shop as well was about $300 in total. Now, if you don't want to be buying food and cooking food all the time, then you can have the option of eating out. But again, I will put this into perspective for you. We went out to eat 2 times. One time we went to get lunch in Little Havana, which was a lot cheaper, and we did pay a reasonable price. I think it was about $30 a person. A lot more reasonable. But then the other time we went out to eat, we paid about $90 a person. You know what I mean? So food-wise, we spent about $120 eating out 2 times. 2 times. And yeah, if you want to eat, especially in Ocean Drive, you're going to be spending definitely above $60 each time you get food, especially if you want to get a drink on top of that. So if you're looking at doing Miami on a budget, avoid bars and restaurants like the plague. Make your own food. Go for takeouts. Even if you want to get yourself some Uber Eats, order Uber Eats in. I think we spent about $40 the entire time on Uber Eats. And that was about we called it out about 3 times, and that was per person. You know what I mean? Per person, it's not too bad. Free Uber Eats, you're saving a lot of money. If you're feeling lazy to cook one day, you are on holiday. Like, I do get you on holiday, you want to enjoy stuff without having to cook and worry about cooking and feeding yourself. Just get yourself an Uber Eats rather than eating out. Again, if you like eating out, then just know that is the price. Now for me, I don't really like eating out too much because whenever I eat out, the portions are either really small. When the food comes, it don't even taste that good. I've always preferred making my own food and knowing what's going into my food and making sure it's a little bit more healthy. Now I am big on gym, so for me, I kind of need to know what I'm eating as well. I don't want to be eating out all the time, but I will treat myself every now and then. But the reason why I also said stock up on alcohol is because when you go to a nightclub, you're paying, not even a nightclub, pool parties as well, you're paying $40 for a rum and coke. Yes, you don't want to be spending that kind of money on booze you can get and make yourself. You can buy a whole bottle for $40, you know what I mean, less than $40. You can get yourself a nice little Ray and Nephews for about $50, you know what I mean. So just, you know what I mean, just make sure you pre-drink at the Airbnb, and when you go out, just look to limit yourself on booze if you are looking to do it on a budget. That's how we do it in London anyway. We're kind of used to it, especially with all my boys going to uni beforehand. We ain't trying to be blowing our money on pointless alcohol that's inflated. We're all thinking about getting mortgages soon, settling down, you know what I mean, starting our own businesses and stuff. We can't be spending money on pointless stuff. Of course, you still want to have a good time, but there are ways to save and still have a good time. So that is something I'd recommend, because you're going to be paying a lot for booze and alcohol. Now, when it comes to actually exploring Miami, the city, downtown, the Sky Museum, you'll be spending probably about $100 on all the tourist attractions, especially with the Everglades as well. That is without the transport. We paid $527 in total. Well, I did. I don't know how much my mate spent. But I paid $527 for all the tours, renting a boat, the pool parties, the nightclub entries, money in the nightclubs as well. So yeah, if you're okay with going to Miami and not partying and you just want to see the city, you want to see downtown, you just want to be a tourist and you don't want to go partying, you're going to be saving a lot of money there. Like $100 ain't too much. Of course, when you want to go on boats, when you want to start going to pool parties, you're going to be spending a hell of a lot more, especially if you end up buying stuff in these places as well, because of course, like anywhere in the world, in nightclubs they always inflate the price of drinks, especially if you go to a pool party as well and you want to get food. Everything's hella inflated, so keep that in mind. But again, if you're okay with not partying, then of course you're going to be saving yourself a lot of money in Miami. When it comes to Ubers and getting around and public transport, we probably paid roughly about $76 to $100 per person. I can't put a rough estimate on that because of course one time one of my mates is getting an Uber, another time I'm getting an Uber, then the next time we decide to get a public transport. And of course if you get on a bus, it's about $1.50. But the reason you came to this video is because you wanted to see if you could do Miami on a budget. And 2 weeks in Miami, I spent $1,100. Now, again, that's with me making sure I have a good time, but also trying to budget myself as well to an extent. I didn't want to spend too much. Now, again, you can be paying a hell of a lot less if you decide to go to Miami and not eat out at all, or if you decide not to party. If you're going to Miami and you just want to enjoy the beaches and the sun, to pick up a tan, a few cans down the beach or whatever, yeah, you could definitely do Miami on a budget. Now, it will cost you more than other cities, but you can absolutely do Miami on a budget if you really want to. Will you have the full experience? Probably not, but again, it's depending on how you want to do Miami. If you just want to chill, keep it chill, not party, if you're one of those people that you've enjoyed the party scene, yeah, why not? You can go Miami on a budget. But if you want to eat out all the time, party all the time, yeah, you might want to go somewhere else, especially if you're looking at doing something on a budget. But that wraps up this video. If you want to see more of Miami, I have the Truth About Miami Nightlife down below in a Miami playlist. I also have the top 10 things you can see, so make sure you go and check that out. But anyways, I'll see you in the next one.